Welcome back to the channel, tennis fans, to what is shaping up to be one of the most compelling and highly anticipated matchups of the 2026 grass court season. Today, we are staring down the barrel of a phenomenal clash at the Andy Murray Arena in the historic Queens Club Championships, where two of the brightest young stars on the WTA Tour are set to cross paths in a high-stakes round of 16 encounter. I am talking, of course, about the dynamic Filipina powerhouse, Alexandra Eala, taking on the relentless American teenage sensation, Iva Jovic. If you've been following the tour this year, you know exactly why the tennis world is buzzing right now. We are witnessing a monumental shift in the landscape of women's tennis, a changing of the guard where the youth movement is no longer just knocking on the door. They are tearing it off its hinges. And this match right here, happening today, June 10th, 2026, at 4:30 p.m. local time, is the absolute embodiment of that generational surge. Let us set the stage properly because the context surrounding this battle is absolutely electric. We are currently in the thick of the grass court swing, a notoriously brief but incredibly demanding phase of the tennis calendar that ruthlessly exposes any flaws in the player's technique, footwork, and adaptability. Grass requires split-second decision-making. It demands a lower center of gravity, razor-sharp reflexes, and an aggressive mindset. You cannot simply sit back and rally comfortably on this surface. You have to take the initiative, slice through the low bounces, and serve with pinpoint accuracy. Both of these remarkable athletes have shown exceptional promise, but they arrive at the specific intersection of their careers riding very different waves of momentum. On one side of the net, we have Alexandra Eala, the 21-year-old pride of the Philippines, a left-handed maestro who has been an absolute revelation this season. She has just touched down in London fresh off a monumental victory just 3 days ago at the Birmingham Open, a prestigious WTA 125 event. Eala captured her second career 125 title there, defeating her doubles partner Nikola Bardenkova in a grueling 2-hour and 38-minute final that tested every ounce of her physical and mental endurance. Coming back from a set down in that championship match, Eala demonstrated a level of championship grit and tactical maturity that proves she is no longer just a rising star. She is a present-day threat to anyone in the top 50. With that Birmingham trophy hoisted high, she has officially broken into the top 50 of the WTA rankings, a historic milestone not just for her, but for her home country. She arrives at Queen's Club brimming with confidence, fully acclimated to the unpredictable nature of the British grass, and hungry to prove that her recent title was not a flash in the pan, but the new standard of her daily output. On the flip side of the coin, we have a phenomenal Iva Jovic, the American prodigy who has been setting the tennis world ablaze with her fearless shot-making and ice-cold composure under pressure. Seeded 6th at this tournament, Jovic is coming into this match with something to prove. Let us not forget what she has accomplished over the last 2 months alone. She has been going toe-to-toe with the absolute titans of the sport. At the French Open just a couple weeks ago, Jovic pulled off an unforgettable victory over former world number 1 Naomi Osaka in a breathtaking 3-set thriller on court, Suzanne Lenglen, showcasing her remarkable ability to absorb massive pace and redirect it with devastating accuracy. While she ultimately fell in the later rounds of Roland Garros, her clay court season was a masterclass in development, highlighted by deep runs in Madrid and Rome, where she battled the likes of Coco Gauff, Emma Navarro, and Jessica Pegula. Now, transitioning to the slick lawns of Queen's Club, Jovic is looking to establish her dominance on a faster surface that perfectly complements her aggressive, first-strike tennis. In her opening round here in London, she confidently dispatched Antonia Ruzic in straight sets, proving that her game translates beautifully to the grass. But here is where the narrative thickens, and why this specific matchup is drawing so much attention. These two are not strangers to one another. In fact, they just played each other exactly 15 days ago in the first round of the French Open, on the red clay of Paris. It was Iva Jovic who emerged victorious, defeating Eala in straight sets 6-4, 6-2. Jovic dictated the terms of that match from the baseline, neutralizing Eala's left-handed spin and relentlessly attacking the Filipina's second serve. But tennis, as we know, is a game of infinite variables, and the shift from the slow, high-bouncing clay of Roland Garros to the lightning-fast, low-skidding grass of the Andy Murray Arena changes the tactical equation entirely. Can Alexandra Eala leverage her recent championship momentum and her newly refined grass court footing to avenge her recent loss in Paris? Will the slick surface amplify the bite of her lefty serve and allow her to keep Jovic off balance? Or will the American 6th seed, Iva Jovic, utilize her explosive power, her elite return game, and the psychological edge of their recent head-to-head victory to hit through Eala and punch her ticket to the quarterfinals? This is not just a match. It is a fascinating clash of styles, a battle of momentum versus raw firepower, and a critical measuring stick for two young women destined to shape the future of the WTA Tour. The stakes are immense, the surface is treacherous, and the stage is perfectly set. We are about to dive deep into the analytics, the tactical matchups, the psychological warfare, and everything else that will determine who survives this epic encounter at the Queen's Club Championships. To truly understand how this match is going to unfold, we have to put these two remarkable athletes under the microscope and analyze the specific mechanics, strategies, and statistical trends that have defined their respective seasons. Let us begin by breaking down the game of Alexandra Eala, because the evolution she has undergone in the first half of 2026 is nothing short of spectacular. For years, Eala has been touted as one of the most naturally gifted ball strikers of her generation, operating from a left-handed stance. She possesses a natural geometric advantage that automatically makes her a nightmare for right-handed opponents. Her forehand is her primary weapon, a heavy, shape-shifting shot that she can hit with immense topspin to push opponents behind the baseline, or flatten out to rip screaming winners down the line. But what has elevated Eala into the top 50 this year is a significant improvement in her transitional game and her point construction. If we look at her title run in Birmingham just days ago, the defining characteristic of her victory was not just raw power, but remarkable patience and court awareness. Against a crafty player like Bardunkova in the final, Eala was forced to hit an extra ball to weather the storm and to find the precise moment to pull the trigger. On grass, this ability to stay low, stay balanced, and construct points carefully is paramount. The grass surface radically alters how Eala's lefty game operates. Her slice serve out wide on the ad court, which is already a formidable weapon, becomes exponentially more dangerous on a slick surface. The ball stays low and skids away from the returner, opening up the entire court for a simple +1 forehand put-away. In Birmingham, we saw her utilizing this pattern with lethal efficiency. However, the critical area of vulnerability for Eala remains her second serve. During their recent encounter at the French Open, Iva Jovic absolutely feasted on Eala's second deliveries, stepping inside the baseline and taking the ball exceptionally early to rush the Filipina. To win today, Eala must protect her second serve at all costs. She needs a high first serve percentage, upwards of 65%, to prevent Jovic from gaining early leverage in the rallies. Furthermore, Eala will need to employ her backhand slice aggressively. On grass, a well-executed backhand slice can completely neutralize a power hitter, keeping the ball below their strike zone and forcing them to hit up, thereby inviting unforced errors. Eala has shown she can hit this shot, but today, it must be a staple of her tactical diet, not just a defensive bailout. Now, let us turn our analytical lens toward the formidable Iva Jovic. What Jovic is doing at such a young age is staggering. She plays with the tactical clarity of a 10-year veteran, combined with the fearless ball striking of someone who simply does not know she is supposed to be intimidated. Jovic's game is built on a foundation of elite footwork and a hyper-aggressive baseline mentality. She takes the ball incredibly early, robbing her opponents of time and constantly applying pressure. When you watch Jovic play, notice how rarely she retreats behind the baseline. She holds her ground, hugging the line and absorbing pace masterfully. This specific trait makes her incredibly dangerous on grass. Because the ball bounces lower and faster, players who retreat often find themselves completely out of position. Jovic's willingness to step in and cut off the angles makes her uniquely suited to thrive on these lawns. Statistically, Jovic's return game has been her golden ticket. In her matches against top-tier opponents like Coco Gauff and Naomi Osaka earlier this spring, her ability to generate deep, penetrating returns off massive first serves was the key to neutralizing their power. Against Eala today, Jovic's game plan will likely be a carbon copy of her strategy in Paris. Attack the Eala forehand with heavy, deep shots to push her back, and immediately look for any short ball to step in and finish the point. Jovic possesses a blistering two-handed backhand that she can drive cross-court or rip down the line. With equal proficiency, she will look to use that backhand to pepper Eala's weaker wing and pin her in the ad corner. However, Jovic is not without her vulnerabilities. Despite her incredible success, she can occasionally fall into patterns of overhitting when she is pushed out her comfort zone. If Eala can use the slick grass to rush Jovic, effectively turning the tables and forcing the American to hit on the run, Jovic's unforced error count can spike. We saw glimpses of this in her grueling three-set loss to Leylah Fernandez in Madrid, where the relentless variety and awkward lefty angles disrupted Jovic's rhythm. Eala, being a similarly crafty left-hander, must review that tape. She must not allow Jovic to groove her ground strokes. Eala has a throw in junk, slices, drop shots, high looping balls mixed with flat drives to keep Jovic from establishing a clean hitting cadence. The psychological component of this matchup is perhaps the most fascinating layer of the onion. Jovic holds the psychological advantage of having just beaten Eala convincingly on the biggest stage of the clay court season at Roland Garros. She knows she possesses a firepower to hit through the Filipinas' defenses. When they step onto court today, Jovic will carry that quiet confidence, knowing her fundamental game matches up well against Eala. But the counterweight to that is Eala's absolute peak confidence right now. Eala is riding a massive high from her Birmingham victory. Winning a title, especially after coming back from a set down in the final, instills a profound belief in one's resilience. Eala is physically battle-tested on the grass right now. She has spent hours grinding out wins on this very specific, tricky surface over the last week. Jovic, having only played one match so far on grass since transitioning from clay, might not have her footing completely dialed in yet. If we look at the crucial battlegrounds for this match, it all comes down to the first 4 shots of the rally. Grass court tennis rarely features the grinding, 20-shot baseline rallies you see on clay. It is about the serve, the return, and the immediate follow-up. Jovic will aim to end the point on her return or her very next ground stroke. Eala must counter this by serving smartly, using her lefty slice to pull Jovic out wide, and utilizing first-strike tennis of her own. If Eala finds herself consistently defending behind the baseline, it is going to be a very short afternoon for her. She must hold the baseline with the same tenacity that Jovic does. We also have to consider the physical toll. Eala played a grueling 2-hour and 38-minute final just 3 days ago. While she is young and incredibly fit, the micro-movements on grass, the constant bending, the sudden stops, the explosive starts, take a severe toll on the lower back and the glutes. Does Eala have the physical reserves to go toe-to-toe in a prolonged 3-set battle if Jovic turns this into a physical war? Jovic, having had a slightly lighter schedule in the immediate lead-up to this week, might possess the fresher legs. But momentum is a powerful fuel, and Eala is currently running on the high-octane adrenaline of a recent championship. As we draw this deep dive to a close, we are left to weigh the immense variables of this fascinating round of 16 clash at the Queen's Club Championships. We have Alexandra Eala, the newly crowned Birmingham Open champion, a player who has finally cracked the top 50, riding a wave of immense confidence and fully synchronized with the unique demands of grass court tennis. Against her stands Iva Jovic, the American phenom, the 6th seed, a player who boasts a recent, dominant head-to-head victory over Eala, and whose aggressive, baseline-hugging style seems tailor-made to tear opponents apart on fast surfaces. When you synthesize all the data, the recent form, the surface dynamics, and the psychological undertones, predicting a winner becomes an incredibly complex task. Eala's lefty serve and her undeniable momentum make her a very dangerous underdog in this scenario. She has proven over the last week that she can weather a storm, adapt her tactics mid-match, and execute under severe pressure. If she can land a high percentage of first serves and utilize her backhand slice to keep Jovic off balance, Eala has a very clear pathway to victory. However, Iva Jovic is not just a standard opponent. She is a relentless offensive machine. Her ability to neutralize big serves with her elite return game and her capacity to dictate play from the center of the court make her incredibly difficult to break down. The fact that Jovic dismantled Eala so efficiently just a fortnight ago at the French Open cannot be ignored. While the surface has changed, The fundamental matchups: Jovic's backhand into Eala's forehand. Jovic's aggressive returns against Eala's second serve remain the same. My analysis points to a match that will be significantly tighter and more fiercely contested than their encounter in Paris. The slick grass of the Andy Murray Arena will undoubtedly aid Eala's serve, allowing her to hold more comfortably and put pressure on the Jovic service games. Expect to see at least one tiebreak in this match, as both players look to dominate on their own delivery. But ultimately, when the margins get razor thin and the pressure reaches its absolute peak late in the third set, the raw, unadulterated firepower of Iva Jovic might just be the deciding factor. Jovic has proven time and time again this season that she can execute her biggest shots in the biggest moments against the best players in the world. I am predicting Iva Jovic to edge out Alexandra Eala in a thrilling, high-quality, 3-set battle. I expect Eala to come out firing, utilizing her momentum to grab an early lead, perhaps even taking the first set. But I foresee Jovic making the necessary tactical adjustments, stepping further inside the baseline, attacking the Eala's second serve with ruthless efficiency, and ultimately overpowering the Filipina in the deciding set. Regardless of the outcome, this match is a massive victory for women's tennis. We are watching two brilliant young minds, two exceptional athletes, carve their names into the fabric of the sport. For Eala, a strong showing here validates her top 50 ranking and proves she is a multi-surface threat. For Jovic, a victory solidifies her status as one of the most dangerous floaters in any draw and builds crucial momentum as we accelerate toward Wimbledon. Thank you so much for joining me for this extensive deep dive into the Eala versus Jovic showdown. If you enjoyed this level of detailed tactical tennis analysis, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown of the biggest matches on the ATP and WTA tours. Drop a comment down below and let me know who you think is going to win this blockbuster clash. Are you riding with the momentum of Eala or the raw power of Jovic? I will be reading your thoughts and debating with you in the comments section. Until next time, enjoy the incredible tennis today, and I will see you in the next video.